A family surrendered their dog to a shelter for one reason. His eyes glowed in the dark. They couldn't sleep. They couldn't stop watching him watch them, so they left. And Shadow, alone in a corner kennel, 73 days later, had learned to keep his eyes shut after midnight. Not because he was tired, because he didn't want to scare anyone else away. A black dog was surrendered to a shelter because his eyes glowed in the dark, not because he growled, not because he bit, not because he destroyed anything. Because at 2 a.m., when the house went quiet and the lights went out, two amber eyes opened in the darkness, floating, waiting, watching. His family lasted 4 months. Then they drove him to the shelter, handed over his leash, and said, "We just couldn't sleep knowing he was watching us." His name was Shadow, and from that night forward, Shadow stopped opening his eyes in the dark. The shelter workers noticed it within the first week. During the day, Shadow was alert, ears up, eyes bright, tail moving slow and steady like a metronome. He watched everything. He missed nothing. But the moment the sun went down, he would find his corner, curl into himself, that thick black fur pulling tight around his body like armor, and he would close his eyes. Not halfway, not drowsily, completely. A shelter volunteer named Marcus wrote in his notes, "Dog sleeps unusually deep at night, possibly anxious. Recommend behavioral evaluation." But Shadow wasn't anxious. Shadow had made a decision. Nobody knew exactly how long Shadow had understood what his eyes did to people. Dogs don't see themselves in mirrors the way we do. They don't know their reflection, but they understand human fear with a precision that would humble most psychologists. Shadow had learned the pattern. Lights out, eyes open, human freezes, human backs away, human leaves. He had replayed that sequence enough times to know the ending by heart, so he rewrote it. He was 8 months old when he arrived at the shelter, black as a closed room, fur so dense it seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, the kind of dog that disappears in a photograph and reappears in your nightmares, not because of anything he did, but because of what the darkness does to human imagination. He spent 73 days in that shelter. I see you still haven't subscribed. Honestly, that breaks my heart, just like Shadow's story did mine. Hit subscribe, you won't regret it. 73 days of watching families walk past. Some slowed down, some even reached toward the kennel door. But when night fell during the weekend adoption events and the fluorescent lights hummed low, Shadow's eyes would catch the light and glow, and hands would pull back, every single time. Daniel wasn't looking for a dog. He was a single father with a 7-year-old daughter named Lily, a lease that technically didn't allow pets, and exactly 0 hours of spare time. He had driven his sister to the shelter to return a borrowed crate. He was supposed to wait in the car. He didn't. He found Shadow in the back corner kennel, the one the staff called the quiet end. Shadow was curled in his signature position, eyes shut, a perfect black circle of fur, rising and falling with slow, even breath. Daniel stood there for a long time. He looked like he was trying to take up as little space as possible, like he was apologizing for existing. He asked about the dog. The staff member paused before answering. He's sweet during the day, but fair warning, his eyes glow at night. Previous owners found it unsettling. Daniel looked back at Shadow. "I'll take him." The first 3 nights, Shadow followed the same ritual. Dinner eaten quietly, a slow walk through the apartment, living room, hallway, Lily's door, back to the kitchen, and then the corner beside the couch. Curl, close eyes, disappear. Lily noticed first. "Daddy, why does Shadow sleep like he's hiding?" Daniel didn't have an answer, but the question stayed with him. On the 4th night, he sat on the floor next to Shadow's corner after Lily had gone to bed. The apartment was dark. Shadow was in his position, curled tight, eyes sealed shut. Daniel sat with him for 20 minutes without saying a word. Then he said, quietly, "You don't have to do that here." Shadow's ear moved, 1 millimeter, but it moved. On the 5th night, Daniel left the hallway light on, dim, just enough. At 2:47 a.m., he woke to the sound of soft paws on hardwood. He lay still and watched through half-open eyes. Shadow was walking the apartment, slow, deliberate, silent. Living room, kitchen, hallway, Lily's door, where he stopped and stood for a long moment, and his eyes were open. 2 amber lights in the dark hallway, steady and calm and ancient. Daniel didn't flinch. He didn't reach for his phone. He didn't back away. He just watched. And something in Shadow's posture, that dense, black, apologetic silhouette, shifted. Shoulders dropped, tail moved once, slow and low. He had been seen, and nothing bad had happened. Lily found out the way children find out about important things, by accident, at breakfast when Shadow walked past the window and his eyes caught the morning light. "Daddy, his eyes are like flashlights." "Yeah, they are." "That's so cool," she said, and went back to her cereal. That was it. No fear, no flinching, no backing away. That was all Shadow had ever needed to hear. Now Shadow walks the apartment every night. Living room, kitchen, hallway, Lily's door, back door. He does it methodically, quietly, like a guard who knows exactly what he's protecting. And when Lily wakes from a nightmare, which 7-year-olds do, she doesn't call for her dad first anymore. She looks for the 2 amber lights in the doorway, and when she finds them, she goes back to sleep. Sometimes Daniel watches from the hallway. He doesn't say anything. He just stands there, arms crossed, watching his daughter's breathing slow down the moment Shadow appears. There's a word for what Shadow does in those moments, but it isn't dog. It isn't even guardian. It's something older than both, something that doesn't have a clean translation in any human language. It's the specific kind of presence that says, "I am here. Nothing will reach you. Not tonight." Daniel still can't fully explain why he walked into that shelter, why he ignored the lease, why he stood in front of that corner kennel for so long. But some nights, when the apartment is quiet and Shadow's amber eyes move slowly down the hallway, he thinks maybe Shadow chose him too. Maybe that curl in the corner, those deliberately shut eyes, maybe that was Shadow's way of waiting, not giving up, just waiting for the right person to finally sit down. Shadow didn't stop opening his eyes because he was broken. He stopped because he was trying to belong to a world that kept telling him he was too much, too dark, too visible, too other. He just needed one person to sit beside him in the dark and say, "You don't have to hide here." Some of us know exactly how that feels. If you're thinking about adopting, please remember, the ones in the back corners, the ones who've learned to make themselves small, the ones the fluorescent light catches wrong, they're not broken. They're just waiting for someone who won't flinch. Would you have flinched, or would you have sat down with him? Tell me in the comments.